Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure how the answer choices were listed. If they were listed like in, if they listed for you in gallons and pints, to convert this to gallons, you would, again, since you're going from a small one to a big one, you would divide. So you would divide 33 by 8. That would be 4 with a remainder of 1. So that means that you would have 4 gallons and 1 pint left over. Okay. Alrighty. Next one. Oh, we did this one last night and it's very complicated. So I'll try to, hopefully I'll be able to do it a little faster today, but if you get lost or confused, tell me. All right. So we got our buddy here is going to work and he's traveling an average speed of 36 miles per hour going to work. Coming home, they're traveling at 27 miles per hour in total. They spent an hour and 45 minutes in the car. We want to figure out how far is work from home. So we're going to have to use the speed formula. Does anyone know what the speed formula is?
Speed over distance.
S equals D over T.
Yeah.
Very good. Speed equals distance divided by time. Beautiful. We know the speed. We know the speed going that way. We know the speed coming this way. We do not know the distance. That is our job. Our job is to figure out the distance. We technically kind of know the time. Why do I say that? Because yeah, you spend an hour and 45 minutes in the car, but that doesn't mean you spent an hour going and 45 minutes coming back. Like we don't know how long it took you each way. We just know in total you spent an hour and 45 minutes in the car. So we kind of know the time. We definitely know the speed. We don't know the distance. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to convert this formula to time. Why? Because you kind of know the time, so you're going to be able to work with the time and you know the distance, and you know the speed. So that way the only variable that you don't know is distance, which is the one we want. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply both sides by t. That cancels. And I'm going to have t times s is equal to d. And now I'm going to divide both sides by s. So it turns out that the formula for time is that time is equal to distance divided by speed. Okay. We have two scenarios. We have the scenario of going to work. We don't know how much time it took you to go to work. So let's just call it time 1. You're going to work. And the distance, again, we don't know it, but we know that the speed of going to work was 36 miles per hour. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go back home. Again, we don't know the time, but let's just call it T2. The distance is going to be the same because it's not like you live further than you did before you went to work. So the distance should be the same, and the speed is now going to be 27. So if I add these two times, if I add the time of going and coming, it should equal an hour and 45 minutes. So if I add these two formulas together, T1 plus T2 is going to be D over 36 plus D over 27. Now, we know the total amount of time, right? An hour and 45 minutes. So 1 hour and 45 minutes, because we are dealing with speed. I know what I just said 5 minutes ago about like turn it to the smallest unit. In this case, we cannot turn it into the smallest unit because speed already is saying that it's in miles per hour. If I change this to minutes, I'm going to mess up the speed. So I have to change this to hours. So this is going to be 1 hour and 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. So 45 would be 0.75. So this is going to be a total of 1.75 hours is equal to D over 36 plus D over 27. How are we doing so far?
Can
Good.
you re-explain that part?
Good.
please?
The what part?
The last portion is explain the time.
This part, like the 45 minutes is 1.75.
Yeah.
So 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. If you, you should be able to know that at the top of your head. But anyways, 45 minutes, if you convert that to hours, you would just divide it by 60 and that's going to give you 0.75. All right, so now we have this formula. Now we finally have an equation that only has one variable and it's the variable we're looking for. So let's work with that. Now, we need to be able to add these two fractions, and the number one requirement for adding fractions is same denominator. So don't overcomplicate your life, wasting time thinking, oh my God, when will these two numbers be the same? La la, just multiply them. So I'm just going to multiply this times 27 and this times 36 because automatically they're going to have to be the same number. So 1.75 is equal to 27D. 36 times 27 would be 42. 25, 12, 7. And I know that's a gigantic number, but don't worry. It'll go away soon. Now that they're the same denominator, you can go ahead and just add them. So 36 plus 27 would be 13, carry the 1. So that would be 63D over 972. And now you can go ahead and solve for D. Multiply both sides by 972. So that's going to be what? 10, 36, 48, 14, 50, 68, 10, 11, 20, and 8 plus 9 is 17. And we need two numbers behind the decimal. So we're going to have 1,701 is equal to 63D. And the very last step is to divide both sides by 63. That's going to be twice, which would make it 126. That would be 4, 4, 1, and I believe that's going to be 7. 21, 40, yeah, 44. So the total distance from work is going to be 27 miles. I know this question is a lot. It's a lot. So just to kind of summarize the steps. Step number 1, we reorganize the speed formula to be a time formula. Step number 2, we wrote down the formulas for time of going and coming to work. Step number 3, we went ahead and added those two formulas and made them equal the time that we knew was the total time we were in the car. And then step number 4 was to go ahead and find the same denominator so we could add those two fractions together. And step number 5 was to go ahead and solve for the variable D, and that's how we got our answer. Any questions on this problem? Any step in the process that you got lost with?
Like there's like a lot of bunch of this algebra, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. There's like a lot of bunch of solving because I was like kind of behind because I was like kind of slow like solving. I was just like copying it. Would you just write it down? But now like I know the answer. It's 27 miles.
Yeah, so the idea is just like you have to be able to like this is probably one of the hardest problems that we've seen. You have to be able to first understand the formula, understand how to rearrange that formula, and understand why you need to rearrange that formula. So it is a lot more difficult than just like a regular arithmetic reasoning problem. I'm sorry, algebra word problem. So if you feel like you struggle with it, it's okay because this is a difficult problem. This is not something that I would expect you to be able to do at the drop of a hat. The first time you guys brought me this problem, I was stuck with it for like a couple minutes.